Hi and welcome to this video series on Python basics in Data Analytics and MIS2 in the part Management Information Systems 2. The whole series of these videos is based as a reinforcement of what you already learned in MIS1. So we are not trying to achieve some new knowledge you don't have already. We're just trying to reinforce it to the point you're able and capable of using what you learned in MIS1 easily through the reinforcement lecture. So let's directly dive into it, and we have a Jupyter Notebook opened in our Google CoLab Cloud instance. So I opened my web browser, typed in Google CoLab, in Google search, opened the link, and am here. Now what you need to do is upload such a Jupyter Notebook you can work on. This one is basically the template which is provided to you through MS Teams, and you can download it there and upload it to your own instance or to your Anaconda if you use it locally. And you do that by going on data and then uploading a new notebook. This is now in German, you have to translate it, but it's probably quite easy that your laptop is then in your own native language. And then you can drag the file, which is an IPYNB file. It's called Python template somehow, or similar to that, here, and then hit upload, and then your screen should look similar to mine, where there is now our Jupyter Notebook opened. Mine's black because just I'm in the dark mode. Yours might be white, but doesn't matter in the end. It's the same, but just displayed differently. So what do we see here? We basically see a Jupyter Notebook, and it's one way to use basically Python. Python could be used for several things like programming, data analysis, but it's quite often used as kind of a mix of both. And for that often is used Jupyter Notebooks. Jupyter Notebook is basically a file where you can write code blocks, which you can see down here, for example, which then have such a play button, so you can execute the lines of code which are displayed or written by you then in these boxes, and text box. For those nerds of you, it's basically Markdown, what you use here. And you can always make new text blocks, for example, by hitting plus text or plus code for code blocks. And if you do so, there's a separate block where you can then code in, and you can then even change the order of those blocks with a button arrow up and arrow down to basically change the position of that, and you can even delete such a block then, and it's gone afterwards. The same is true for text, which you then can add here. Can type text. Oh, sorry. Now I'm in the wrong text block. I want to change that one. Can type text here, can even format it differently. So you can see down here how it's then formatted. Now it should be cursive or italic. Can then change the position again of this block and even delete that block if I want to. All right, so what is important as well, in the 5th semester, we kind of learned that there are different things like function, programs, programming, and scripting. And basically, this is a scripting language, Jupyter Notebook. A script is basically presented by such a file where the code is executed from top to bottom live in the runtime. So, for example, if I now write a comment, which is displayed by a hashtag, this is a comment, and hit play, the live through the runtime, while we're doing that, it's executed line by line. So this is the first top line, and this line is interpreted while we're running the code and analyze what it is. And since it's the comment, it is ignored. It's only for us, so we can basically tell ourselves what we did later on. And we should always use comments, because sometimes if you haven't watched the script from you for a while, so a 5-year-old script or whatever, you don't remember what you did. So comments help you in commenting out what the intention of a line of code is or a block of code, so you always are able to understand your code later on as well. The thing for the scripting is it's executed line by line. So if I now put a second line, for example, check if strings are recognized as strings, and how is a string written? Well, by quotation marks, as you can see here. So a string might be then, here is a text, and the string is now marked as a string by the quotation marks around it. However, we learned in 5th semester as well to show that string, so it's executed and printed. We need a function called print, and within the brackets we can then put what should be printed. So I can put the string in between, and then if I execute, the first line is executed, it's a comment, ignore it. The second line is executed, it's a comment, ignore it. And the third line is executed, oh, that's a function, I should print to the standard output whatever is in the brackets, and this is a string, so print that string here. And it's executed in the runtime line by line. That's what scripting is. We could use a more compiled programming language as well, which then we would write the code, hit compile, then the computer would analyze everything we did, transfer it into machine readable code. So depending on the system you're using, it might be differently compiled. So a MacBook has a different uses a different machine readable language than a Windows machine, but this compilation is then optimizing the order and the flow of the lines you have written, so it's optimized afterwards. So it's not executed in the runtime, it would be transferred, and then it would be an executable app you can hit, and then it would be executed. So the big difference is compiled versus in runtime, which we do in runtime, so we use the scripting language. All right. We can not only print text here, we could use, for example, numbers as well. So we could print 1, for example, and if we didn't do that, it should be executed this. Here's the text, then executed this 1, so line by line. All right. See you in the next video, I guess, where we will talk about data types. Thanks.